there are some films that end with the protagonist just covered in blood. And they all star Samara weaving.
That is such bad luck, Sophia! Please, help yourself to champagne and first aid.
You have to love the absolute commitment that Samara Weaving has to just playing a good-for-her girl in comedy horror films constantly. I respect it. She's found something that she is really good at, and she's just decided to do it 30 different times, and we will cheer for her every single time. Borderline stars Samara Weaving alongside Ray Nicholson. She's a pop star apparently comparable to Madonna, and he's an insane person who's just broken out of jail after previously stabbing his bodyguard to try and get to her, although he also thought the bodyguard was her. And I don't know if he meant to stab her or the bodyguard, but he did do one of those things when thinking he was doing the other. And he's just an insane person. He's like an extra insane person. And I've got to say, you know, I have complained as recently as Novocaine about Ray Nicholson not actually being a very good actor. And I'm not sure this film has convinced me otherwise, but he just so happens to be playing a really over-the-top lunatic in this film. So it just fits what he's got. But that is what he does in every film, even when it doesn't really seem like that's what he's meant to be doing. A few things here. First, you can't be too annoyed with the guy for being obsessed with Samara Weaving. She's pretty great. Second, Ray Nicholson, yeah. I really enjoyed most of the acting in this. Him, I don't know what to make of him still. I've seen him in like 4 films now. I still can't make up my mind about whether he's a really terrible actor or just sort of bad. Also, Alba Batista is so funny as the random crazy lady that's just along for the ride with him. Like, wow. I had not seen her in anything, I don't think, except for Warrior Nun, basically. And she kind of killed in this role. I very much enjoyed the couple of the scenes with her and Samara. Very sad that their duet scene did not end with them kissing. Could have gone that way, could have gone. Anyway, this is part of the new genre of cinema that features Samara Weaving marrying a guy that has mental health issues. And it's a real... it shouldn't happen as often as it does, but there you go. It's just a horror comedy that is really jumpy because it's written and directed by the guy who wrote Cocaine Bear, and it feels like it. And I mean that in both a positive and a negative way, because that was a very funny film. It was also a very jumpy, weird film. The narrative didn't really fit in, but it felt a little bit more grounded, Cocaine Bear, because the direction and the editing did that. Whereas this guy had like full control over this film, and his just jumpy, weird, hyperactive, like a little child on cocaine style really, it's too much in this one. It just feels overdone. And that's a shame because it's got some really great stuff here. It's kind of not that good, but it is sort of great. That's how I feel about it. Especially the third act. It's a good example of this because that third act is the whole scene in the chapel and all that stuff near the end of the film is marvelous. And it's so funny. But it also like just skips randomly a huge chunk of what actually happened to get into that chapel scene. You know, considering where they were, it's just suddenly like, oh, we're here. And it's like, are we going to go back and see what happened to get them here? No. Oh, right. It feels like they're so desperate and excited to show us their film. And I'm just sitting down and I'm like, yes, I have begun to watch it. You can now show me the film. And the film's just, the whole thing feels like it's just yapping at your knees like an overexcited dog. And it's like, yeah, let me pet you. No, Jesus, it's too excited to be pet. That's what this film is like. I don't know how, but that's exactly what I feel like when I'm watching it. It's just whoa. It's just like, calm down, do your thing, okay? I'm enjoying it, just do your thing. And it's just so all over the place. Even Samara Weaving's character isn't likable for a lot of the film, a lot of the whole setup. She just seems like not a good or nice person that we want to root for, but we're just kind of meant to forget that. The film just kind of goes, nah, never mind that. Once she actually gets home invaded. It's just then like, no, you're meant to root for her. It doesn't matter what we did before. Don't care. So there's just a lot of weirdness to it. It's got some really hilarious moments, but I feel like Cocaine Bear I very much described as being funny enough to get away with all these weird story quirks and character quirks and all of the kind of silly nonsense around it. And this isn't. It's amusing, but it's not hilarious. And it needed to be that to get away with how strangely built the whole film is as a vehicle. I'm just kind of left wondering why they felt the need to do so much of what they did. They could have done this a lot simpler, still had the same like ending, where it all gets really funny, and it would have worked, well, quite a bit better for me, I think. But anyway, I'm giving Bordering on being a good film 3 stars. Better than Borderlands, at least. Yeah. Samara Weaving always feels like she could do so much more with her career. And yet, simultaneously, I'm going to get super excited when I hear that she's doing another horror comedy. Like, it's tricky. It's tough. It's an easy typecasting to get stuck into. And honestly, it looks like she's having fun in all these films, so why not?